been a while since I've done a YouTube video like this. A little bit more sitting down, using a Canva presentation, and just waffling on. Talking about the direct impact health and fitness can have on your career. Now, obviously for me, health and fitness is my career, but a lot of people I work with, it's not the case. You know, they've got jobs in finance, recruitment, all sort of law. They might have their own business, and the conversations that we have, and I have with other people, you know, on social media, Instagram, LinkedIn being the main two, the amount of people that don't see a direct correlation between prioritizing and focusing on their health and fitness and seeing progress in their career, it's quite baffling. And I'm just made this presentation sort of off the cuff. I was on a run earlier, and I thought I can talk about this in a little bit of detail. So why not waffle on? It's a little bit echoey. I'm in a bathroom, which is a makeshift office at the moment. So apologies for that, but this is a raw, off the cuff sort of video. Now, hopefully you like my presentation skills, but it all starts with fitness. Okay, so back in the day, the old age of entrepreneurship was very much a case of you sleep when you're dead, necking Red Bull, staying up throughout the night. In some instances, dabbling into Class A drugs, such as Mr. Vitor Belfort, Jordan Belfort in Wolf of Wall Street, Limitless, like Bradley Cooper there on the left, who was able to find a drug that allowed him to become an absolute genius and earn lots of money. And you know, in the films, it's very typically, you know, portrayed as this way of being an entrepreneur. Whereas I think now, if you look at the more modern day entrepreneurs, it's very much prioritizing health, fitness, you know, being physically fit, being conscious of what they eat. You know, a lot of people that I follow who are entrepreneurs follow this criteria. You know, if you look at your people like Iman Gadzhi, if you look at Ollie Marchon, Nick Bare, George Heaton, just as a few that come to mind, not all necessarily in fitness per se. I know Nick Bare comes from a fitness background, but they've all built huge businesses and all prioritise their health and well-being. You know, and I think it says a lot, because at the end of the day, our body is a machine. So we want to make sure, well, I would want to make sure it is firing on all cylinders, and we are getting the most out of everything we can, controlling the controllables, which comes down to eating, training, sleeping, and everything else. Because inevitably, you know, this doesn't necessarily mean, or just for business owners, but if you're someone that's career driven, you want to stand out from colleagues. And in today's day and age, it's quite easy to stand out, because a lot of people are quite average, not in a bad way, but they just don't go and seek discomfort and look to progress. So it's quite easy, you know, if you can focus on your training, your nutrition, you're going to stand out, because what you do in your spare time says a lot about you. So we want to make sure that we're pushing ourselves physically, mentally, and it's only going to reap the rewards in other avenues, like our career as well. So career, relationships, whatever it may be. So we're going to start off with training. Can't move my bald head out of the way. So training's a must. We've got to train. Okay, if you want to be in great shape, and if you want to look better, have more confidence in yourself, it's going to come through training. Okay, now there's a lot more to it than just the physical aspect. Don't get me wrong, we want the six pack, we want to look good, t-shirts fitting, you know, looking good in a suit, whatever it may be that your attire is. However, the mental aspect it brings as well is through the roof. You know, in terms of your self-confidence, have a little bit of an aura about you. So if you're someone that's not training already, or just trains through the motions and just is a bit ad hoc, you want to change that. Okay, get serious with your training, because you're only going to improve the way that you look and improve the way that you feel, which is going to have a direct correlation to working performance. Now, I'm not saying you need to train 6 times a week like a bodybuilder. You know, that's not the case. In fact, it's probably the opposite. You're probably going to do more harm than good. 3 full body sessions per week, with a little bit of conditioning at the end, is perfect. If you're not sure where to start, I've got a free guide for this. So I'll pop the guide link in the bio below. It's a 3-day training program. Well, it's a training guide, and with a program added on if you want to spend less than 3 hours per week in order to achieve your goals. So put that in the link in the bio for you to download. Now, another thing I'd be highly recommending is getting it done first thing in the morning. Get your training sessions done nice and early, at the crack of dawn, as early as possible. So if your gym opens at 6, get there for 6. If your gym opens at 5, get there for 5, okay? Because ultimately what it's going to allow you to do is just set you up for the day. Because if you can get to the gym, train, do what you need to do, all before a certain time, the day's going to feel like a breeze, okay? I remember working at David Lloyd, 6 a.m, my shift would start. I'd always see the same faces, it'd always be the same people. Conversations occur, you start chatting. They tend to be quite successful within their career, within their business, within life. And the fundamental of that was getting up, getting to the gym, doing what they need to do. You've got less distractions in the morning, so there's not as many people trying to get in contact with you. There's no emails, there's no sort of colleagues trying to contact you. It's just a bit of time to yourself. You go in, you do your session, you come out. Make it non-negotiable, okay? Get into the gym, follow a plan, move some weight with purpose and intent. You're well on your way to achieving a physique that you wish, and that mental capacity, that mental resilience. Like I say, you're going to be one step ahead of everyone else. You're going to enter that office or your workspace, endorphins flying, you've got adrenaline pumping through your body, you're walking in, feeling great. People are going to go, whoa, what have you been doing? Honestly, it's a game changer. Get it done early, get the alarm set, and make sure that you get your session done nice and early. There's that little kickstart, a little head start to the day, which is what we want. Now, if we look at nutrition, eating for performance. So nutrition is very much overcomplicated, I believe. You've got different sort of camps of, if it fits your macros, eat what you like as long as you hit your calories. You have meal templates that you must stick to 5 meals a day in Tupperware and whatnot. For performance, I'm probably more towards the latter, because ultimately what we eat is going to have a huge effect on how we feel, how we look, our skin, energy, brain fog, everything else. But we can have an element of enjoyment as well, okay? If you want to go out for something to eat, then you can do so. Now, for your nutrition, you want to see it as both performance mentally and physically. So getting the most out of your nutrition from a training perspective, from a body composition perspective, but also from a cognitive functioning ability. Okay, now dive into this on one of the points. So if you're currently someone that is grabbing a baguette on the go, grabbing a croissant, you need to stop that. It's no good. Okay, it is no good. It's not going to put you on the track to the goals that you want to hit. If you need to prepare your food, prepare your food. If you're out first thing in the morning on the road for work, prepare your meal the night before. It could be something like a smoothie you make the night before, you put it in the fridge, you can walk out the next morning with it in your hand, no excuse, rather than I'll grab something on the way to work, or if you're on the road. So a couple of fundamentals when it comes to nutrition, I would be looking at doing 2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight and roughly 30 to 50 grams of protein with each meal. So, if you're having 50 grams of protein with each meal, you have 4 meals in a day, 200 grams. Nice and simple maths. Carbohydrates, I'd look to prioritise pre and post workout to ensure that the levels of our performance and recovery. So pre-workout would be consumption of carbohydrates to fuel our glycogen stores to ensure that we're going into the gym ready, high energy, good to go. And then post session to help replenish our glycogen stores, help with that recovery process. I would be mainly consuming those carbohydrates in that workout, okay? Purely down to the fact over this next point, high carbohydrate meals across the day in other parts or other meals can lead to brain fog, drop in energy, will affect your insulin levels, which can affect your energy levels and blood sugars. I would be keeping my early meals in the day protein fat based, okay? So let's say, for example, personally, I'd wake up nice and early in the morning, hydrate, use caffeine to help obviously just get me in that flow state, crack on with as much work as I can, and then I'll be going for a protein fat meal. That could be something like some eggs and avocado and some smoked salmon, for example. It could be some Greek yogurt, whey protein, some blueberries. Nice and simple, because a heavy carbohydrate meal is going to make us feel sluggish, a little bit low on energy, which is not what we want. We want to be performing on high amounts of levels. We want to be able to focus and be creative, okay? I would also be following more whole foods, okay? 80% whole foods. It's going to help with your digestion. Your digestion and brain are linked. So if we've got digestive issues, your brain's not going to be performing at the highest level, okay? So meats, fish, eggs, rice, potatoes, fruits, vegetables, but like oats, sourdough, all foods I'd be looking to include and incorporate into my diet. Now, if you wanted to gain muscle mass, then a calorie surplus is going to be the main goal. So what I would be recommending, if you're someone that's not sure what they need to be doing in terms of should I be in a dieting phase or should I be trying to, maybe bulk up a little bit, I would be looking at myself, being honest and thinking, am I carrying a little bit of body fat? Okay, most people probably are. So I'd go into a dieting phase. I'd get as lean as I possibly could over a 6 to 8 week period. Once I'm in that lean position, I'll then slowly start bringing calories up to maintenance and then going into a small calorie surplus, as I've mentioned here. Okay, reason being, if you're already carrying a little bit of body fat now and you go into a surplus, body fat's only going to increase. Okay, so we want to start as lean as possible, because if you're already carrying a bit of body fat and you're adding more body fat, it's going to be very hard to stick to things from an adherence standpoint, and your body's not going to be quite as sensitive from a nutritional aspect either. Okay, so get lean and then slowly go into a gaining phase with a calorie surplus. I'd be looking at around about 150 to 200 calories in this surplus. So if your maintenance amount of calories 2,400, I'll be looking at around about 2,550 to begin with. Looking at around about 0.2 to 0.3 grams of increase in body weight per week, and that's probably going to put you in a good position. So nothing silly. It takes time. Building muscle takes time. So little wins will add up over a period of time. You just need to be adherent and stick to it for a long period of time. Don't be being in the gaining phase, calorie surplus for 4 weeks, and then going, I want to diet down. You're not going to have changed your body. Okay, so key to think about. On the flip side, if you want to obviously get lean as possible, drop body fat, calorie deficit is going to be where you want to be. 150 to 250 calories in terms of your deficit. Obviously, we're talking at this from a nutritional aspect. You can use expenditure, cardio, activity, steps, that sort of thing to help increase that expenditure. On the whole, though, 150 to 250 calories, making sure protein is adequate and we maintain it around about that 2 grams of protein per kilogram, and prioritising carbohydrates around our gym sessions to get the most out of them. We're now going to be looking at recovery and sleep, because we've covered the training, we've covered the nutrition. Perfect, we're almost there. The last sort of creme de la creme, the last pillar is going to be about recharging our batteries, our sleep and recovery, because that culture of I'll sleep when I'm dead, drinking loads of energy drinks at night, look at me, I'm up till 3 o'clock, blah 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 blah, I think is going. Okay, personally I think it's a little bit 10-15 years ago in that grind culture. Okay, instead now, again, if you look at a modern day entrepreneur, they're looking at prioritising their sleep and almost investing in those 1%ers, especially from a recovery aspect. Because if you're not able to recover, you're not going to be able to perform well in the gym, you're not going to be able to perform well mentally at work, and therefore you're not going to be moving that needle forward, which hopefully most people on this video watching would want to be doing. So if we look at it from a sleep perspective, a few basics on how to improve your sleep and get the most out of it. We're going to limit caffeine in the afternoons. Okay, so if you still want a hot drink, go for a decaf. Nice and simple. If you're not a fan of any caffeine, etc., then obviously just stay away. Reduce blue light in the evenings. So blue light is being emitted from our monitors, televisions, house lights. So I would be looking to try and spend as little time as possible in these environments. Obviously very hard to do so. Therefore, I would recommend buying some blue light blocking glasses, using settings on your devices that obviously will limit blue light. So on the Apple, Mac and iPhone you can do this, because ultimately blue light sends a signal to our body of it's light, it's bright, we need to be awake, which is not what we want when we're trying to go into sleep, okay, or trying to go into a rest and digest. So I'd be looking at doing that. Personally, 20 minutes before bed, I'd just spend time completely off a device, read a book, put a podcast on, etc. You want to keep your bedroom as a place for sleep. So don't go into your bedroom in the day, scrolling on your phone, watching television, doing things that aren't sleeping. Because ultimately we want our body to go, I'm in bed, I'm in this environment, this is where I sleep. Okay, not swipe on Tinder or do whatever else you do in bed, which I won't bother thinking about. And we also want to create a routine in terms of trying to go to bed at a similar time each night. This is going to help with our body's circadian rhythm. So for our body to naturally know when it's time to be awake, when it's time to go to sleep, which is going to help us feel more energized throughout the following days. So bed by 10, up by 6, keep that routine as structured as you can. Maybe at the weekend you give yourself an hour to do so, but a solid routine is going to help. Now, how did all this affect your career or your business. Okay, so you might be thinking, okay, perfect training, nutrition, need to do this, but what's the catch? How's it going to improve? So let's say, for example, you have started training 3 times per week. You're following a set program or the guide that I've got in the link in the bio. Your macros are set up correctly because you're looking to drop body fat, so you're in a small calorie deficit, and your sleep is on point. You're not going on your phone in your bed anymore. You're reading before you go to bed, and you're sleeping 7 to 9 hours per night. So you're on your way to a new version of yourself being created, or yourself evolving, as cringy as it may sound. So what can you expect? Now, these habits will take time to obviously build up, and you can't expect magic to happen overnight. It does take time and consistency, and it's something that you need to be doing week in, week out. And okay, it might mean some sacrifices. It might mean that people might laugh at you, etc. You know, if you're going to bed at 9:30 thinking, yeah, what are you doing? Or if you're up at 5:30, 6 in the morning thinking, have you wet the bed? But honestly, this is where you're going to make the most amount of progression. I see it as do things that most people don't in order to get things that most people can't. I just made that up, but it makes sense in my head. So what can you expect? Now, your energy levels are going to have increased. You're fitter and stronger in the gym because of your training. You're sleeping well each day, therefore you're more alert, you're more focused and able to get more stuff done. You're more productive, especially work. You're more confident as well. So you've already been to the gym in the morning, you've consumed a meal, breakfast meal that's high in protein, full of nutrition that you know is beneficial, and now you're starting work on the front foot. You've entered the office or you've entered the workplace, you've already done more than the majority of people in there. That's going to give you a little bit of a buzz. Okay, that's going to allow you to have that confidence and thinking, yeah, okay, feeling good. Confidence is high and I know I'm on the right path. So that's another thing you're going to be feeling. You're also going to be recognition of loved ones and colleagues. You know, they're going to be seeing you in the gym in the morning. You're coming into the office with a little bit of an aura, and they're going to start thinking, okay, crikey, you really are making big positive impacts and big positive strides with what you're doing, which is only going to help motivate you. And your productivity in work, all of this is going to allow you to make better decisions. It's going to allow you to be more alert. It's going to allow you to obviously have more of an impact with work, which obviously is going to be helpful in terms of standing out from the crowd. As I said before, you're going to get more shit done. You're not going to be fazed by anything, and that is going to ultimately allow you to see huge improvements with your career or business, depending on obviously what it is that you do. So I think it's just silly not to prioritise these. From all the points I've made, I'm not really saying anything that is not known. It's just nailing the basics and doing them for long periods of time, So for me, it's a win-win. You can see the impact it has, not only physically, but mentally. You can see the impact it now brings to you in your workplace, in your career, in your business, even in your relationships. It's only a positive thing, okay? Yeah, so many people just neglect it and don't bother, but they're the ones that just stay as weekend warriors and just enjoy being the same. So we want to make sure our body's primed mentally, physically, by exercising, consuming foods we know are going to be applicable in helping us get to the North Star or the main goal, and that's going to allow you to stand out, earn that promotion, increase your income, start that business, whatever it might be. Okay, so whatever professional goal that you have, it all starts with nailing your training, your nutrition, your health, well-being, and everything we've covered in this video. So the main thing is, as well, you just need to start getting after it. There is no perfect time to start, but now, and remain consistent. So a little bit of a favourite quote: the brave may not live forever, the cautious do not live at all, to end the video on. This was actually painted on the front door of my house every time I used to leave. Of course, growing up I was about 11, thinking, what on earth had my parents had written on that door for? But as you get older and you learn more, it's a very good quote by Richard Branson. So there we are, a little bit more on health, well-being, and how it can help you become successful in the workplace, as always. So if there's any questions on this, then obviously do drop me a comment and let me know. If you want me to cover any other topics as well, also let me know. But I've got plenty of videos coming similar to this to ensure that we're all moving that needle forward. So see you on the next one. Have a fantastic rest of the day.